Alright, it's definitely been a while since I did that last thing, so let's just get into it. A lot of editing went into it. The manager of suite seems surprised to see you up and about. Oh, miss, you're awake. You were injured during the foray on Mont Gold, yes? I was here at my station, as always, when they carried you in on a makeshift stretcher, looking disturbingly bereft of vigor. And to compound my worry, the sky has, well, I'm sure you've seen. It has everyone rather concerned, to say the least. Seeing you up and about is the first good news we've had in a while. Assuming you feel strong enough, would you mayhap consider a stroll around the city to reassure our anxious citizens? Broggy was one of those who helped convey you to your chambers, and he has visited several times since to inquire after your condition. Alright, so let's go see Broggy then. Hey Broggy, I definitely didn't talk to you a minute ago.
Well, well, well. Look who's back from the dead. Aye, it was a grim sight. Your companions looked fair ready to drop when they brought you in, so I offered a helping hand. Couldn't bear to see them struggle so. And you, my friend, I fear you had one foot in the grave. Cold and lifeless you were, like a corpse that was somehow still breathing. Then they told me some evil bastard went and snatched our poor Exarch away in the midst of the chaos. Wicked wight, what is this world coming to? Bah, but moaning never solved a thing, did it? Nay, it's times like these that we Crystarium folks stand tall and do what needs to be done. Trade with Yulmore is back on the table. We'd best make use of those resources to fortify the cities against the Eaters, or whatever misery the fates deem fit to throw at us next. Speaking of misery, Chesamil was worried sick about you. A healer wringing her hands is not a sight you ever wish to see, let me tell you. Oh, glad am I to see you walking again, my friend. But this business with the Exarch, it weighs heavily upon all our minds.
Oh, sweetie, you're alive. No one's been allowed to see you. Even Spagirix. Even Spagirix Chirud, I can't speak
these words, they're not real.
Even Spagirix Chirurgeons were forbidden from making visits. Reen was kind enough to tell me you were showing symptoms similar to Eater corruption, so I suppose there was little any of us could have done for you in any case. As for your companions, they've been rushing hither and yon, seeking a cure to your condition. I worry to see their faces grown ever more haggard every time they pass through the Crystarium. I shall let them know you're awake, and when they come to see you, sweetie, please do convince them to rest a bit. They won't be helping anyone if they all collapse of exhaustion. And our own Moren has been little better, I'm afraid. He hasn't left the cabinet, too busy with his nose buried in one dusty tomb or another. I wish I could brew you a tonic, sweetie, but I have no idea how it might affect you. No, it's too dangerous. In the end, I can but pray for your well-being. May blessed Shadow keep you, your friends, and the Exarch as well.
I'm here. Moren, are you okay, my friend? My nerdy little friend.
Confound it. This says the same thing as the last. Mayhap I should approach the problem from a different perspective. Fluxy, is it truly you, and not some figment of my imagination? Oh, but this is wonderful. 'Twould seem our prayers have been answered.
Feeling otherwise helpless, I've been scouring our shelves for the wisdom to explain this worrisome conundrum. Why, with all the light ones defeated, has the light returned to obscure the sky? I must have pored over 100 tombs, but no definitive conclusion seems forthcoming. So many questions I would pose to the Exarch, and thus do I feel his absence all the more keenly. Now that you are awake, however, I am hopeful the search for our stolen steward might begin in earnest. Catullus, meanwhile, leads the crystalline mean in preparations for battle. Though against what foe, we are as yet uncertain. Why not pay her a visit? I expect seeing you upright would be a much welcome relief. I shall forge ahead with my search for answers. I'll not have it said that I abandoned my efforts at the first sign of hardship.
Fluxy! Alive and well, I see.
You gave us all a proper fright. You know that? Not a day's gone by that I haven't heard folk worrying that what's to come of you or the Exarch. Anyway, I'm glad you've recovered enough to stand. You're not planning on striking out straight away, though, are you? I was hoping to have a better look at your equipment. If we'd been able to provide you with better weapons or sturdier helms, then maybe you would have won that day, and the Exarch would still be here. As such, we're keeping busy consulting each other on the new forging techniques and designs on the like. If you could stand still a moment, I'd like to assess the gear we're trying to improve. I just cannot read for the life of me right now. I'm unable to focus. It's been too long. Aye, well, that's some fine work, I must admit. It would be impossible to make something better, but we'd need to experiment with different patterns and materials, and I'm not sure we have that kind of time. That sounds like a change that he would enjoy. Greetings, Glenard. The Master of the Stairs is running his own errands now, is he?
Aye, well, my servers are distraught enough as it is, and I didn't want to crack the whip too hard. But never mind that. I'm thinking our absent genius and his epiphanies are the perfect answer to the predicament of yours.
And by genius you mean old Grenold. He is a man of unrivaled gifts. I won't argue with you there. But what good does his talents do us if we can't bloody find him? No one's seen hide nor hair of Grenold since he wandered off some years ago. You know what he's like once he latches onto an idea. He's probably cloistered himself in some forgotten cave, completely absorbed in his latest creation. I wouldn't even know where to start looking. I would, he's an Amarong.
That makes things difficult.
Still, if that eccentric is someone you're destined to meet, I wager he'll show up soon enough. In my time at the bar, many's the tale I've heard told of strangely fated encounters, even if a few of them might be stretching the truth just a bit. Just a bit. We'll keep our noses to the grindstone for the time being, but on the off chance you do encounter Grenold, you'd be wise to take advantage of his brilliance rather than wait on our slow and steady progress. This is all talk for when you've fully recovered, of course. I'll let you get back to convalescing, eh?
Before you do that, you're actually the reason I came over here in the first place. I don't suggest partaking of my stock until you're properly well. But if you're passing near the stairs, then I've a few regulars I'd like to introduce you to.
Yeah, sure.
I'd best be getting back. Just because the world's coming apart at the seams doesn't mean we have to follow suit, now does it?
Hear, hear. We can't forget the heart upon which this city was founded, or the Exarch might not have much of a home to return to. Come on. Okay. Atlas looks at you with a concerned eye. Ooh, we're at 79.
Foxy, are you alright? I think a return to your sickbed might be in order. Or you might consider resting a while atop the watchtower next to the rookery. This damnable sky doesn't make for the most soothing scenery, but the Exarch often like to stand there and feel the wind upon his face. Whatever you decide to do, I suggest you do it slowly. You are not well yet.
You ain't the fucking boss of me!
This almost looks cinematic enough to be a voiced cutscene. I will take the risk. Am I gonna get a vision of the Exarch?
The people of this city have spirit, I'll give them that. They've not lost the will to fight.
Ardbert, my man. What's up?
I can imagine how torn you must feel, looking at that sky. Knowing what it means to everyone. And that you're responsible.
You don't have to imagine. Technically the same thing happened to you, didn't it? The secrecy is worse. I'd rather people knew. I still can't believe it's coming from me. It's all such a mess. The secrecy is worse. I'd rather people know. The secrecy is worse. I'd rather people know.
If you're thinking of coming clean, don't. It might make you feel better, but it would make things 100 times worse for them. They're better off not knowing.
I guess you're right, but still.
You're in a corner, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious way out. But that doesn't mean it's over. However hopeless it seems, you haven't lost yet.
Little shimmy.
I remember looking up at the sky like this before. Being caught up in a strange kind of calm. It was after we realized we were responsible for the flood. When we resolved to journey to the source by taking our own lives.
How did that work exactly, by the way? What do you mean taking your own lives?
One last sacrifice. One last fight. One last failure. And then the Oracle appeared and, well, you know the rest. There were times in the years and decades that followed when I wondered if we might not have been better off just letting the rejoining happen.
That man.
That we'd made one last mistake. But seeing that giant Talos stir to life cured me of any doubts I still had. Always we took the burden of fighting upon ourselves. That's what heroes do, isn't it? So we never had the chance to see anything like that. Our people coming together as one. To think that their hope still burns so bright. That they were still so eager to live, they would lift up their fellows, one on top of the other, till they reached the sky. No. We made the right decision. And I can finally feel proud of the part we played in helping this world survive.
Sure, your friends are proud too. Here it comes!
Well, come on then.
Here we go!
As I thought. What happened between us was no coincidence. My story may be finished, but the fates have gifted me a minor role in yours. I suspected as much the moment I realized you could hear me.
Same.
But it's hard not to doubt yourself when you're the man who caused the flood. I was afraid to do anything more than watch for fear of making things even worse. But no longer. After all, the path I once walked is now yours to finish.
Hard work.
For what it's worth, I cast my lot with yours. If you need a push, I'll be right there behind you. If you lose control, I'll do my best to stop you. So, let us be about it, hero.
Oh, I was worried you were up here all alone, brooding and fretting and wallowing in your woes. But look at you, grinning at nothing like a pollen-drunk pixie. Look at what you've done to your ether. It's a mess. And you have cracks running all through that pretty soul of yours.
That must be interesting to see.
My poor little sapling. Whatever am I to do with you?
End me. Kill me. Throw me off this balcony.
Shall I yield up my throne? You could claim it. Cut ties with the mortal world. Hide away in the castle.
Become another Titania?
It won't fix the problem. But would it really matter? If any pesky heroes come calling with steel and magic, all of Ilmeg will rise up in your defense. My crown and scepter are yours, if you want them.
I don't. I really, really don't. But I appreciate the thought.
What? Don't give me that look. Of course I knew before I asked that you'd never, ever heed such a wicked suggestion. And besides, what would become of my precious and ephemeral flower?
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate your, like, collarbone thing? Because it's like...
Oh, my dear beloved sapling. You are lost, confused, and have precious little time to gather your wits.
super gross.
Your kind is always so preoccupied with what lies ahead, and so we muddle your vision with fog and glamour. But such trickery is easy to see through. Stand very, very still. Think not of where you need to go, but where you are right now at this moment, at this time, in this place.
Thanks, I guess. Little fairy man. Oh. What's up?
Our cairn of crystal. From shadowed hood he watched you go, his ruby eyes with warmth aglow. See yourself as he saw you, and that shall be the clearest clue.
Why are you speaking in rhymes? He saw me as the greatest hero to ever live.
You stand in his garden, dear sapling. Ask his flowers what they know, and you will surely find an answer. But what will you do with it, I wonder? I'll be watching and waiting. Waiting and watching.
Waiting and wadding. Peace out, little fairy dude. You're gonna run into a wall if you keep heading that way. Yeah. All the way over here. Interesting. You're still sitting there. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna talk to important people again. Semjnmai. What up?
Oh, I did not expect to see you on your feet so soon. Surely you have not come in search of an armoro.
What do you know about the Exarch? What do I know of the Exarch?
I am happy to share, but I fear there will be no surprising revelations. As any in this city could tell you, he is a man of wisdom and compassion and many untold secrets. But none can doubt his generosity. When the Crystarium was being constructed, he even allowed folk to plunder the tower for resources. He has imposed no restrictions upon us but one. No one except the Exarch is permitted to dwell within the spire. Many seasons past, a comrade of mine was bold enough to ask the question why. The Exarch merely smiled and said, "Because one day the Crystal Tower may vanish as suddenly as it arrived." To this very day, the tower remains as it always has, solid and imposing. Yet I do not think our steward's warning was a falsehood. And even if it were, none would dream of breaking that one rule and risk shattering the community we have worked so hard to build.
Cassard! Luxie, it is good to see you awake and alert, my friend. What do you know of the Exarch? What's this about? You're not writing the Exarch's memoirs, are you? I'm not sure how much I can tell you, considering we avoid asking too many questions. Unspoken rule and all that. If anyone has fresh insights to share, then it'd be Captain Lena, I'd say. She lost her parents to an eater attack not long after she was born, and the Exarch saw to her upbringing. Outward appearances aside, those two are like grandfather and granddaughter. I imagine the news of his predicament hit her doubly hard. Not that our proud captain would ever let it show. If you do decide to talk to Lena, she'll be at her usual post at the censor gate. Okay. While we're on the subject, I'm concerned for that Alice of yours. I'd thought her face stormy on that ride back from Amaran, but now it's closer to a raging tempest. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, was there something else you needed? If you've come for the results of my research in the persistent light, I'm afraid there's little to tell as of yet.
Nah, I want to know what you know of the Exarch.
Records pertaining to the Exarch? Well, I need no documentation to relay what little I know of his history, if that is what interests you. Less than a decade has passed since the coming of the Flood, when the Crystal Tower first flashed into existence. Its summoner, the Exarch himself, became known to the refugees in Lakeland soon after. He welcomed all who sought out the spire, be they locals who had lost their home or Verbatites fleeing their ruined kingdom, and together did they find the city which would become the Crystarium. Some thought to call him king, for he refused to share his name, but the summoner did not deem himself worthy of royal address. Thus did the people consider his scintillating skin so alike to the tower he had summoned, and bestowed upon him the title of Exarch, Crystal Exarch. As for his true name, well, 'twould seem that is a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Aye, the Exarch has ever been one to conceal his full appearance, although I have on occasion spotted what could only have been a tail.
Well, time to find Lena and see what she has to say as his granddaughter.
Lena, what's up? Oh.
Fluxy, I was told you had woken. A welcome surprise. Now if only the Exarch was returned to us. He was taken by this rival of yours, was he not? Your companions mentioned they had an idea of where to find him, and so I bristled when they asked for patience. I did not understand their hesitation until I saw that you had fallen. Only then did I realize that I had no business rushing ahead. Even so, the delay has been no less agonizing. In the moment before he left to join you in Calusia, the Exarch entrusted me with a key. It opens a door in the ocular to a chamber known as the Umbilicus. This room is the heart of the tower, into which only the Exarch himself is permitted to enter. He bid me allow none into the tower once he had departed. Only in the event that an army of eaters descended upon the city was I to access the Umbilicus and awaken the defensive barrier. Never before had he left me with such instructions, but the battle with Thor 3 loomed near, and at the time I had accepted the key without much thought. Since then, however, that moment is all that occupies my mind. When I recall the look upon his face, he knew that some terrible fate awaited him. Tell me, Fluxy, I need to know what he feared. What battle you and your companions are truly fighting? Forgive me. I trust in the Exarch, and I should not be voicing these doubts when he is not here to respond to them personally. But you have come to me with a question of your own, have you not?
What do you know of the Exarch?
Ah, I see. I am not the only one who burns for answers. The time has come to open the tower's heart. Though we do not face an invasion by eaters, I suspect the city will be in far more danger if you do not gain the knowledge you seek.
I mean, yeah.